Hello and warm welcome. This is News Plus on Viewer Television. I am Chinan Supam. Now, President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday in Abuja inaugurated Senator George Akume as the 21st Secretary to the Government of the Federation. And our State House correspondent, Dorcas Bello, completes the report.
Not directly or indirectly communicate or reveal to any person any matter which shall be brought under my...
Swearing the oath of office as the new Secretary of the Federation, George Akume. He is the former governor of Benue State and immediate past Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs. Speaking to reporters after his inauguration, Akume vows to remain steadfast and not disappoint the president.
I assure Nigerians I will do my best. I will not disappoint the president. I will not disappoint this country. I will not disappoint my party. I believe Nigerians will find fulfillment in my responsibilities as I discharge them in their own interest. So I want to thank you for that.
Present at the ceremony, the governor of Benue State, Father Hyacinth Aliya, expressed confidence in Akume's ability to deliver.
We know his requisite. We know what he has offered in the past many decades for the state and for the nation. We're very confident, too confident, that he's also going to deliver, and the nation is going to be proud that our choicest man from the state is selected and sworn in for this great job.
The SGF is joined by wife Regina Akume, some former governors, and leadership of the All Progressive Congress. Others are family members and well-wishers. From the State House in Abuja, Dorcas Bello, Viewer Television News.
And now the President Bola Tinubu is currently meeting with governors of the 36 states of the Federation in council chambers in Abuja. This is the first meeting the Nigerian Governors Forum, led by its chairman and governor of Kwara State, Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, will be having with the president since he assumed office over a week ago. Also at the meeting is Vice President Kashim Shettima, the newly sworn-in Secretary to Government of the Federation, George Akume, the National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Munguno, among others. This meeting comes a few days after the president met with the governors of his ruling All Progressives Congress under the aegis of the Progressive Governors Forum. Recall during his inaugural speech, the president made it clear that he would constantly consult stakeholders with regards to key decisions that affect the country. And ahead of the June 13th inauguration of the 10th National Assembly, the President Bola Tinubu would officially meet with the lawmakers-elect across party lines on Thursday, June the 8th. The invitation of the President was conveyed in an official letter from the State House to the Senate and read on Wednesday by the Deputy Senate President, Ovia Omo-Agege. According to the letter, the meeting between the lawmakers and the president will take place at the State House Conference Center at the State House in Abuja on Thursday, June 8th at 2 p.m. Meanwhile, the Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, sat on the floor for Senator Omo-Agege to preside over the plenary. And the race to produce the 10th House of Representatives is just a week away. It is becoming more intense, especially in the camps of the two strong contenders, Tajuddin Abbas and Aliyu Batara. In this report, we take a look at the intrigues and suspense of what may likely play out on the day of the inauguration. Let's take a listen.
On the 13th of June 2023, the House of Representatives will settle down on who becomes the Speaker of the 10th House of Representatives. Earlier in the month of May, more than 9 aspirants vied for the position of Speaker. For now, there are only 2 major strong contenders, Tajuddin Abbas and Aliyu Batara. In terms of geopolitical zone, Tajuddin Abbas from North Central, representing Zaria Federal Constituency of Kaduna State, is the chairman of the House Committee on Land Transport. Aliyu Batara from Northwest, representing Biu, Bayo Shani and Kwaya Kusar Federal Constituency of Borno State, is the Chairman House Committee on Appropriations. There are arguments that Batara is from the same zone as the Vice President Kashim Shettima, which may affect the federal character principles. But on the other hand, the previous administration had a Vice President and Speaker from the same zone. Another argument is that Tajuddin, though productive in terms of legislative activities, is not so popular amongst his colleagues. For Batara, he is competent and the most popular of all candidates vying for the post of the Speaker of the 10th House of Representatives. For Tajuddin, there are indications that Northwest governors are strangely working to have the position zoned to them on the grounds that despite pushing for a power shift to the South for Senate, the zone was not considered in the choice of running mate for President Tinubu. For now, stakeholders have argued that the Northwest alone cannot hijack the speakership and the deputy president of the Senate. Opposition members-elect are scheduled to meet with President Tinubu on Thursday after the valedictory session of the House of Representatives with the hope that all issues will be settled. There are other arguments that the North Central did a good job for the All Progressive Congress by delivering the highest number of governors to the party, 4 out of 6 from the North. Though representing only 5% of the House, the women are praying that they should be considered in the role of leadership just as it is in the current 9th House. With the Speaker of the House of Representatives named the Chief of Staff to the President, will the majority lawmakers stand by the party's decision of zoning or be determined by the minority of the House, also known as the greater majority? Only time will tell.
And on aviation matters, the House of Representatives has ordered the suspension of the nation's national carrier, also known as Nigeria Air, which was recently unveiled at the twilight of the last administration. The House of Representatives, during an investigative hearing over the launch of the airline, expressed displeasure that despite a court injunction, the former Minister of Aviation went ahead to flag off the project. Now the reports.
The launch of Nigerian Air, the nation's national carrier, a few days before the inauguration of a new administration, has continued to generate reactions. Nigeria's parliament has also disassociated itself from the launch, which has now become a major controversy. Several stakeholders from the sector, while appearing before an investigative hearing at the House of Representatives, accused senior ministry officials of not carrying citizens along. They also accused the ministry of being in bed with Ethiopian Airlines to sabotage the operations of local airlines in the country.
There are some issues that we need to bring out because we may not have this platform again. As a stakeholder, yes.
And you're part of the shareholders?
Yes, we did not even know about the static or airborne display.
Huh?
We saw it in the newspapers and social media.
Nobody consulted you?
No. So I'm a bit surprised that the FAMSEC is attempting to whitewash this thing. It's a very
this is circle. They are part of the shareholders, and they are not even aware of this transaction.
The aircraft was a charter flight. Of course, as charter flights, you can paint the aircraft in any colors you want. If you're going to go for a destination wedding and you're chartering the aircraft to take your guests to Accra for the wedding, if you pay, you can have the aircraft painted, the tail with your wife's picture or whatever you want. It doesn't matter because it's a charter flight.
So this is a drama, really, not a serious business.
So you see, when the aircraft on a charter flight, the aircraft was to come to Nigeria, to Abuja, and go back 48 hours later. It was, I'm not going to discuss the unveiling because we've discussed all of that extensively, but it has nothing to do with the launch of the airline.
Limited liability company. And for us to have a national carrier, it's going to a partnership with some local and international investors. And that's where the process of betting the Nigerian Air came in. ICRC is fully involved, and there are processes to this. And one of the processes is outline business case, which has been approved. I will move forward to ensure that we have what you call a full business case, which will involve all the shareholder issues, negotiations, and what have you. And we're in the process. We have not gotten an AOC for there to be a launching of Nigerian Air. But the processes are on, and the interim MD can throw more light on the processes to getting AOC.
As trading of accusations and counter-accusations continued, the committee expressed shock upon hearing that the unveiled aircraft bearing Nigeria's colors was actually chartered from Ethiopian Air.
We granted the aircraft a flight permit. It was meant to be a charter flight from Ethiopia to Nigeria.
After grilling senior officials of the ministry, lawmakers condemned their disobedience to a subsisting court order which had sought to halt the project. The call for caution so as to avoid ridiculing the nation's aviation industry.
The committee, after careful evaluation of the issues on the deliberation, is totally dissatisfied with the actions of the former Minister of Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirika, in going ahead to flag off the operations of Nigerian Air, despite a standing court injunction against such, and without any provision for sustaining the operations of the airline, Nigerian Air. We are equally irked by the role played by Ethiopian Airlines in this whole process. It does not speak well of the excellent relationship existing between the two countries.
While the amount used to flag off the project remains unclear, the committee has ordered the suspension of the flight operations and prosecutes those involved in the controversy.
And there's more news still to come after the break. Please stay tuned.
In this 21st century where all the information we need is now in the palm of our hands. News from around the world, entertainment, celebrity gossip, sports, and much more. The only thing that you need is the right source. Viewer TV is now on the go. Simply check us out on our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter for all the information you need.
Welcome back. You're still watching NEWSPLUS on Viewer Television. And now the House of Representatives has, in line with the provisions of Section 151 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, approved the request of President Bola Tinubu to appoint 20 special advisors. The communication containing the request was read during plenary Tuesday and was thereafter approved. This enabled him to use the appointees to perform functions. And meanwhile, the House has commended the Nigeria Labour Congress for accepting to continue to dialogue with the federal government against its earlier planned strike over the removal of subsidy on premium motor spirits. The House, in response to a motion from Unyime Idem, noted the likely impact of the strike action on the economy and livelihoods of the people, adding that the directive to shelve the planned strike was in the interest of the nation.
The potential consequences of the proposed strike, including increased hardship for Nigerians, loss of work hours and financial resources, disruption to economic activities, exacerbation of the country's economic challenges, and potential disturbances to public peace. Further recognizes that the federal government has chosen a dialogue approach to engage with labor leaders in order to find a way forward.
The House members therefore urged the federal government to ensure it implements the resolutions reached at its meeting with Labour. The lawmakers were confident that the billions of dollars spent on subsidies from 2015 to date, which stood at an estimated $10 billion, could be channeled to development projects in the country. And over to Plateau State, the House of Representatives has called for an investigation into an arbitrary killing in Maraban Jama'a, Vielkaru, Plateau State, where one person was killed. In a motion sponsored by Dachum Bagos, noted that there have been in the past complaints by citizens of being harassed or molested by security personnel at checkpoints. It was noted that on the 5th of June 2023, there was an unrest at a security checkpoint in Maraban Jama'a Velkuru between the security and some constituents who were on their way for a funeral but were stopped by the security personnel of the Special Task Force, Operation Safe Haven, stationed at the popular Maraban Jama'a Kuru, just South Local Government Area of Plateau State. The lawmakers said that on their way coming back from the mortuary, heading to church for the funeral service, the same security personnel stopped them at the checkpoint, denying them right of access, while some youths on bike came down to plead with the security personnel. One amongst the security personnel shot two of the youths, thereby killing one 18-year-old Kenneth Gyang and injuring one Emmanuel Pam. The victims were among mourners conveying corpses from Zawan to Kuru for burial.
From the mortuary heading to church for funeral service, the same security personnel stopped them at the checkpoint, denying them right of access, while some youths on bike came down to plead with the personnel. One among the personnel shot two of the youths, thereby killing one 18-year-old, Mr. Kenneth Gyang, and injured one Emmanuel Pam. The victims were among the mourners conveying corpses from Zawang to Kuru for burial.
And the 9th House of Representatives has wound down with the last plenary of the Parliament held on Wednesday. The House held its valedictory session with the outgoing Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, presiding over leaders and members of the House, spent about 3.5 hours recalling major events recorded in the chamber in the last 4 years. The Speaker noted that it was the first time in the history of the National Assembly that certificates will be issued to outgoing members. The 10th National Assembly is billed for inauguration on Tuesday. And the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and its gubernatorial candidate, Isa Ashiru, has told the Gubernatorial Election Petition Tribunal that they will call no fewer than 25 witnesses in their petition. Counsel to the petitioner, Samuel Atung, disclosed this during the proceedings of the pre-hearing phase before the court's 3 justices in Kaduna. During the proceedings, he averred that 23 electoral officers were part of the witnesses to be presented before the court for examination in chief, cross-examination, and re-examination.
It is for the tribunal to decide. They have filed their application. We've been given 4 days to respond to it. So I don't want to comment on the merit.
Chairman of the 3-man panel, Justice Victor Ovavwe, after extensive deliberations, allotted 7 minutes to the examination in chief, 12 minutes to cross-examination, while 3 minutes were allotted to re-examination, respectively. However, counsels to the first respondent, which is the Independent National Electoral Commission, Al-Hassan Umar, the second respondent, Governor Ubasani and Sanisu Musa, and that of the third respondent, APC, Muhammad Katu, were at the court as they all pleaded with the court for the service of the interpreters.
Contain anything to support their prayers of wanting to set aside the victory of our client. So we also ask the court now to strike out that reply We have also informed the court that we have another application that we filed to seek the dismissal of their petition even at the preliminary stage.
Meanwhile, counsels in the matter adopted all answers documents filed, just as the court directed the PDP counsel to respond within 4 days upon service of application by the respondents' counsels, while 2 days were allotted to respondents' counsel to also respond. Meanwhile, the Labour Party has complained about several irregularities observed during the March 18th Guber election, thus seeking the nullification of the process. The lead counsel to the Labour Party, Barrister Abba Ejembi, made the party's stand known to newsmen after the court pre-hearing session.
Vote by massive. Anyway, they are already before the court. But these are in the petition we complained about the non-compliance with the Electoral Act. Essentially, that in our petition, we have asked the court to find a hold that then validated the process, the entire process. We're asking for the nullification of the election on the basis of massive irregularities, non-compliance with the Electoral Act, and indeed, acts of corruption in the process.
The matter has been adjourned to the 15th of May 2023 for the hearing of all applications that have been filed and those yet to be filed. And the coalition of northern groups, after taking note of recent developments in the country, especially since the announcement of the withdrawal of oil subsidy on May 29 by President Bola Tinubu in his inaugural speech, has organized a one-day town hall meeting of civil society organizations and non-government organizations, making known their stand on the subsidy removal. While applauding the federal government over the subsidy removal, the northern coalition groups further reprimand the labor union, accusing them of sabotaging the quest of meaningful Nigerians for selfish interest.
These are the main reasons why we have lost faith in the ability or willingness of the organized labor to act on behalf of or speak for the interest of the Nigerian public. And unless labor amends its ways, we shall continue to distrust every of its actions and shall call the public to disrespect every of its decisions.
And on the international scene, Algeria, Sierra Leone, Guyana, and South Korea have been elected unchallenged to sit on the UN Security Council in 2024-2025, while Slovenia handily beat Belarus for the only contested seat. The UN Security Council is made up of 15 members, including 5 permanent members, the United States, Russia, China, France, and the United Kingdom, and 10 countries elected for 2 years, half renewed each year, and respecting rules geographical distribution. In the secret ballot vote in the General Assembly, Slovenia, competing with Belarus for the seat going to Eastern Europe, obtained 153 votes against 38 in Belarus. The other 4 seats to be filed held by representatives from Africa, Asia Pacific, and Latin American Caribbean all had a single candidate. Algeria got 184 votes, South Korea 180 votes, and Sierra Leone 188 votes, and Guyana 191. And over in Ukraine, they have evacuated thousands of people after an attack on a major Russian-held dam unleashed a torrent of water, inundating 24 villages and sparking fears of a humanitarian disaster. Washington warned there will be likely many deaths as Moscow and Kiev traded blame for ripping a gaping hole in the Kakhovka Dam, which is located on the front line and provides cooling water for Europe's largest nuclear plant. Kiev said the destruction of the dam seized by Russia in the early hours of the war was an attempt by Moscow to hamper its long-awaited offensive, which Ukraine's leaders stressed would not be affected.
In fact, the destroyed Kakhovka reservoir is one of the largest in Ukraine. It holds 18 billion cubic meters of water. All the structures of the Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant and its dam were located in the occupied territory, under the full control of the Russian occupiers. Last fall, we had information that the occupiers had mined the dam of the Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant. They did it intentionally. First, to blackmail the world. Second, to blow up the dam and use the flood as a weapon. This is exactly what happened.
In Kherson, the largest population center nearby, headed for higher ground as water poured into the Dnipro River. Ukrainian authorities said 17,000 people were being evacuated and a total of 24 villages had been flooded. And that's all on News Plus. Many thanks for watching. I am Chinon Sopam. Please do stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs.